So I wake up, I've got these 3 names of these 3 tennis pros, and I call my first guy on my list. And as we're talking, he's very nice, and I'm asking questions. He says, Molly, I don't know if you know this, but in Atlanta, tennis is a big deal. Like, people teach tennis at apartment complexes for reduction on the rent. I got to find a deal like that, right? This sounds unbelievable. He says, you know what? Actually, Molly, a really good buddy of mine, he just got engaged. He's getting married. He's moving out of this apartment complex where he teaches tennis, but that management, that property, they're going to need a tennis pro in a minute. They don't know it yet. I said, where is it? Tells me where it is. I get in my car. I drive over to the apartment complex. I walked in, and the manager, thankfully, she was there. I introduced myself, and she starts to pitch me on an apartment. I said, no. I said, listen, I played tennis. I've taught a little bit. I said, do you guys have a tennis court here that you use to teach to the residents? Yes, absolutely. We have an unbelievable pro. She said, he's been here for 6 years. Everybody loves him. He's amazing. I said, okay, cool. And I said, well, gosh, I would love to talk to you. If anything were to change, with him, I would love to talk to you about teaching here. And she goes, oh, yeah, no. He's been here for 6 years. We're totally good, but really appreciate you coming by. I hand her I don't know if anybody else did this, but my absolutely homemade, totally bootleg, paper-thin business card. I said, well, look, if anything changes, please let me know. Get my car, I'm driving back. I call my buddy at Wilson Sporting Goods who gave me all my gear and tennis rackets, all that in college. I said, Rick, I'm down here in Atlanta. Don't you have a closet down the hall with all kinds of Wilson stuff in it? Could you put a box of it all together, send it down to me in Atlanta? I want to give it away to people that come to the tennis clinics, get them excited about Wilson stuff. I wake up the next morning, 1:15, my box comes in from my buddy at Wilson. I grab my box stuff. I drive back over to the apartment complex. I walk into the apartment with my box and my tennis tips. I said, hey, Mrs., I just wanted to swing. And she goes, oh my gosh. She said, you are not going to believe this. I'm holding my box. I said, what's up? She said, the tennis pro came in this morning. He is getting married. He's moving out. We need a tennis pro. And I was like, no, this is incredible timing, right? She goes, yeah, this is kind of insane. I said, well, listen, this is this box of stuff from Wilson. These guys are super cool, right? Like, we could give this away to people that come to the clinics. He's a great guy, and it might be kind of fun. And she goes, wow, the guy that we had, he was amazing, but he didn't do anything like that. And I said, wow, well, this is great. I said, how'd it work? What was the deal? She goes, well, the rent's $850, so we gave him $500 off the rent every month. She said, so he would just write us a check for the difference at the beginning of the month for $350. I said, here's the thing, like this whole $850, $500, write a check for the difference thing. What if we just, waived it straight up, right? I'll move in, we can keep the momentum going pro. And she said, well, I got to go back and call my boss and see if we can even do that. She comes back 10 minutes later and she said, look, I told him about this Wilson stuff, these tennis tips. She said, you're good to go. In fact, she said, actually, I'd love you to move in as soon as possible. I lived in this apartment complex for free for 9 years. It was beautiful. I tell that story because to me in life, right, it's about closing the gap with the people that we serve. It's about identifying the things in their lives that aren't working